exciting news! The design studio on Nationwide 90 FM just got a whole lot bigger. Join us this and every Saturday now from 1 to 3 p.m. for an exclusive show that elevates your home, mind, and soul. Discover the latest interior design trends to create your dream sanctuary. Unlock your true potential with personal growth strategies. Nourish your body and spirit with expert wellness tips. Don't miss out on the inspiration you need to live your best life. Tune in to the design studio this and every Saturday from 1 to 3 p.m. and take the first step towards a more fulfilling you.
Make me sweat, make me harder.
Ready to tackle that building project? Start right. Start here at H&L Rapid True Value for building supplies. The time by H&L Rapid True Value is
Nationwide time, 5 o'clock.
Interex Distributors invites you to the ultimate clearance yard sale. All tiles on sale. Deals too good to miss. Save big, shop smart, only at Interex Distributors, 591 Spanish Town Road. Call us at 876-501-2516. Hurry while stocks last. Don't miss your chance to grab unbeatable bargains. The temperature by Interex Distributors is
27 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 28 out west in Montego Bay.
From the Nationwide News Network, comprehensive, incisive, tough. This is Nationwide at 5.
Good afternoon, I'm Robeanne Williams.
And I'm Mahiri Stewart.
In Nationwide news at this hour, gas prices to go up $4.50 as Petrojam announces another round of increases in fuel prices.
3 multilaterals exploring ways to ease the escalating global economic and energy disruptions caused by the U.S.-Israel war with Iran, particularly on developing economies.
National Integrity Action also calls for the PNP's Dennis Gordon to recuse himself from Parliament's Public Accounts Committee.
I am hopeful that his political party has either asked him to recuse himself or have removed him. Penalties need to be levied.
Young Jamaica accuses Julian Robinson of acting as an explainer-in-chief for Jack Den and calls for him and Dennis Gordon to resign from the PAC.
A report was done by Customs. It identified what the duties are, and Mr. Gordon has paid those duties.
Southwest Airlines flight lands safely in Montego Bay after crew reported a fire on board.
In news from the rest of the world, Bahamas Prime Minister announces May 12 general election.
Trump fires Pam Bondi as U.S. Attorney General.
In sports, champions Stets retains Grace Headley Cup in rain-affected final against Manchester High.
And later in our broadcast, in our cover story at 5:35, Petrojam has announced another round of fuel price increases, citing sustained volatility in global oil markets due to the U.S.-Israel war on Iran. President of the Jamaica Gasoline Retailers Association, Philip Chong, President of the Transport Operators Development Sustainable Services, Edgerton Newman, and President of JUTA's Kingston Chapter, Noel Williams, will join us to discuss.
In the nation's business at 6:25, the National Integrity Action and Jamaicans for Justice say Member of Parliament for East Central St. Andrew, Dennis Gordon, must recuse himself from Parliament's Public Accounts Committee, PAC. We'll hear from the Principal Director of NIA, Dr. Gavin Myers, and political commentators Kevin O'Brien Chang and Dr. Nadine Spence.
And at 7, it's the comments section with Shalois Michael and Mahiri Stewart. This evening they're asking, should Dennis Gordon resign from the Public Accounts Committee? Give us your comments by logging on to our Facebook page, Nationwide News Network, and also on X, Nationwide, and on our Instagram at Nationwide 90 FM. All these and more as we take you home on air on your mobile Nationwide 90 FM, RevoNews.ai, and on the Revo News app. It's available on Google Play and the App Store. This Thursday afternoon, it's Holy Thursday, April 2, 2026.
The hour is brought to you by the new KFC Saucy Wings. Hot and spicy wings tossed in sweet red chili or citrus chipotle barbecue sauce. Wings that will crunch the rest. New KFC Saucy Wings. It's finger-licking good.
If it's news, it's got to be Nationwide 90 FM.
Now to the details. The state-owned refinery Petrojam has announced another round of fuel price increases, citing sustained volatility in global oil markets linked to the ongoing conflict involving Iran, Israel, and the United States. This follows similar increases over the course of the last few weeks as the conflict shows no signs of abating. Khaleesi Wright reports.
In its latest pricing bulletin, Petrojam said the adjustments reflect elevated international oil prices, which remain above seasonal norms due to continued geopolitical tensions in the Middle East. Effective Thursday, the company increased the prices of all major fuels by $4.50 per liter. Under the new pricing structure, 87 gasoline will be sold at a billing price of $172.38 per liter, while 90 gasoline moves to $179.82 per liter. Automotive diesel oil will now cost $184.75 per liter, with ultra-low sulfur diesel priced at $191.59 per liter. Kerosene propane also rose in price, while butane registered a slight decrease. Petrojam noted that the listed figures represented ex-refinery billing prices, and final retail costs will vary once marketing companies and service stations apply their respective markups. The latest increase marks another week of upward adjustments, reinforcing concerns about the impact on transportation costs, electricity generation, and overall inflation in Jamaica. High energy prices driven by supply disruptions and uncertainty in key oil-producing regions could further strain households and businesses in Jamaica. Khaleesi Wright for Nationwide News.
Meanwhile, the heads of the International Energy Agency, the International Monetary Fund, and the World Bank Group have agreed to establish a joint coordination group to respond to escalating global economic and energy disruptions triggered by the ongoing war involving the United States, Israel, and Iran. In a joint statement, the institutions warned that the conflict sparked by coordinated U.S. and Israeli strikes on Iran beginning February 28 has created one of the largest supply shocks in modern energy market history. The multilaterals are jointly exploring ways to ease potential pressures, particularly on developing economies. Mahiri Stewart tells us more.
The U.S.-Israeli war with Iran has rapidly expanded beyond direct military engagements. Iran has begun retaliating across the region, targeting energy infrastructure and disrupting shipping through the critical Strait of Hormuz, a passage responsible for roughly 1/5 of global oil trade. This disruption has sent shockwaves through global energy markets. Oil prices, which stood near $72 per barrel before the conflict, have surged dramatically. The critical commodity recently traded above $100 per barrel. The International Energy Agency, International Monetary Fund, and the World Bank Group have cautioned that the economic fallout is already being transmitted globally through higher oil, gas, and fertilizer prices, with knock-on effects on food costs and inflation. Supply chains for key commodities, including aluminium and phosphate, have also been affected, alongside disruptions to global aviation and tourism due to instability in major Gulf transit hubs. Financial markets have also reacted sharply. Rising oil prices and uncertainty have increased inflation expectations, prompting concerns that central banks may adopt tighter monetary policies, potentially slowing global growth. In response, the newly formed coordination group will focus on real-time monitoring and data sharing across energy markets, trade flows, inflation trends, and financial conditions. It will also assess financing needs and deploy policy advice, concessional funding, and risk mitigation tools to support the most vulnerable economies. Additionally, the group aims to mobilize broader international support, working alongside regional and multilateral partners to deliver coordinated assistance. The three institutions said the initiative reflects an urgent need for collective action as the war continues to destabilize global energy systems and economic conditions. Mahiri Stewart for Nationwide News.
The National Integrity Action NIA has added its voice to calls for the opposition Member of Parliament for East Central St. Andrew, Dennis Gordon, to recuse himself from Parliament's Public Accounts Committee, PAC. This follows confirmation that his company, Jackden Limited, is one of 4 private entities that benefited from the misuse of the tax exemption status of the University Hospital of the West Indies, UHWI. Principal Director of the NIA, Dr. Gavin Myers, says anyone who unlawfully benefited from the arrangement must face the full extent of the law.
If it is that they knowingly abuse the UHWI tax exempt status, everybody who is involved in it, every full extent of the law should be dealt with and should be met with. Administrative sanction, every sanction we can think of should be met there, because it is robbing our health services, our government services of needed revenue. But along with that, it is creating an unfair and unjust system, because their persons and companies are paying full taxes and having to compete with them. So it is wrong, immoral, and unjust.
The NIA is the second civil society group to call for Gordon's resignation from the PAC. Executive Director of Jamaicans for Justice, Michael Jackson, says if Gordon does not resign, he should be removed to eliminate any conflict of interest. Gordon is the principal of Jackden Limited. The Auditor General report found that the company benefited from a waiver of approximately $10 million through the improper use of the hospital's tax exemption status to import 12 dialysis machines in 2024. Reports are that Jackden has since repaid the sum to the UHWI following the scandal, but Dr. Myers says that is not enough.
I am hopeful that his political party, the People's National Party, has either asked him to recuse himself or have removed him from the PAC. Penalties need to be levied. And no, it is not enough for someone to, oh, I am sorry, I'm pay the fines alone. If Mr. Gardner or Jackden can only pay and finish up, then it will not be a deterrent. And we need this to be a deterrent to him and others.
Dr. Gavin Myers, Principal Director of the NIA.
And Nationwide News has identified the principals of the other 3 companies at the center of the UHWI tax exemption saga. The information was obtained from the company's Office of Jamaica. For Supreme Laundry Services, a company with a focus on janitorial services, the directors are listed as Chantal Hill and Josephine Chambers Lynch. Wilman Sales Company Limited has Sean Manley listed as its sole director. The company's focus is listed as merchandise retail. Scientific and Medical Supplies Limited is a company focused on laboratory testing. The principal directors are Peter Liu, Howard Lau, and Elsie Lau.
And the youth arm of the governing Jamaica Labour Party, JLP Young Jamaica, says both Julian Robinson and Dennis Gordon should resign from Parliament's Public Accounts Committee, PAC. Robinson is the chairman of the committee, while Gordon is a member. Young Jamaica's call is in reaction to Robinson's response to the ongoing tax exemption controversy involving the University Hospital of the West Indies, UHWI, and Jackden Limited, the company implicated in what the Auditor General's Department described as an unlawful and inappropriate transaction. Gordon is the principal director of Jackden. In a strongly worded statement, Young Jamaica accused Robinson of acting as an explainer-in-chief for Jackden. Siobhan Campbell tells us more.
The criticism follows comments made by Robinson during an interview on Beyond the Headlines. There, Robinson indicated that Dennis Gordon had informed him that the outstanding duties linked to Jackden Limited had been repaid to the UHWI, amounting to approximately $10 million.
The principal of Jackden has indicated to me that one of the reports relate to his company, and he in fact has paid to the university the sums of the duties that are outstanding. He has told me that. At this stage I can't speak on the other entities, but he has indicated that to me.
Robinson also dismissed calls from Young Jamaica for Gordon to be held accountable, suggesting the group was engaging in partisan politics.
I can't take them seriously. I mean, if they want to be consistent and credible, there are so many people in their own party who they should have called for their resignation. They're just playing party politics. I mean, as I said, a report was done by Customs. It identified what the duties are, and Mr. Gordon has paid those duties.
But Young Jamaica has rejected that position. arguing that repayment alone does not resolve the seriousness of the breach identified by the Auditor General. The organization says Robinson's remarks were dismissive, contemptuous, and undermined the principles of accountability expected of someone in his role as PAC chairman. It's now calling for Robinson's immediate resignation as PAC chairman, citing what it described as his clear bias and unsuitability for the position. Young Jamaica has also renewed calls for Gordon to step down from his role as a Member of Parliament, PAC member, and chairman of the opposition People's National Party's Region 3. Jackden Limited benefited from a waiver of approximately $10 million through the improper use of UHWI's tax exemption status to import 12 dialysis machines in 2024. The Jamaica Customs Agency has since completed its investigation into Jackden, while probes continue into other companies such as Supreme Laundry Services, Wilman Sales, and Scientific Medical Services. Siobhan Campbell for Nationwide News.
And Nationwide News understands that the Ethics Committee of Parliament is to probe the Jackden UHWI matter in relation to the conduct of Member of Parliament for East Central St. Andrew Dennis Gordon. The Ethics Committee of the House of Representatives is a sessional select committee established to uphold high standards of integrity and conduct among parliamentarians. Its primary role is to investigate breaches of the political code of conduct, manage conflicts of interest, and oversee compliance with statutory regulations for members of parliament. The chairman of the committee is West Central St. James MP Marlene Malahoo Fort. The committee is set to meet next Wednesday. It's uncertain if the matter of Gordon will be on the agenda of next week's meeting. Ethics Committee meetings are always held in camera.
You're listening to Nationwide News at 5. More news after these.
You're listening to Nationwide 90 FM. The time is
5:16. Continuing the news, Government Senator Marlon Morgan has sharply criticized opposition leader Mark Golding over what he describes as his dithering in addressing the growing UHWI Jackden controversy. In a statement issued Thursday, Morgan says Golding's silence on the matter, despite mounting public scrutiny, raises serious concerns about his commitment to accountability and transparency.
PNP President Mark Golding's prolonged inaction in dealing with the deepening scandal concerning the unlawful use of the University Hospital of the West Indies tax exemption status, which has engulfed a company owned by the PNP's Region 3 chairman Dennis Gordon, is totally unacceptable.
Morgan further contends that even if corrective steps are taken at this stage, the delay has already eroded public confidence in the opposition leader's credibility.
This is the same Mark Golding who, on the campaign trail, claimed to be zero tolerant in relation to such acts. Golding has absolutely no credibility. Even if he takes belated action at this point, his prolonged inaction confirms to the Jamaican people that he cannot be trusted, and he cannot be trusted to treat with the matters of accountability, transparency, and probity in any serious manner.
Marlon Morgan, Government Senator.
Police in Area 5 are reporting a historic drop in murders, with killings falling to their lowest level on record for the first quarter of the year. Area 5 comprises St. Thomas, St. Andrew North, as well as St. Catherine North and South Police Divisions. Area 5 Commander Assistant Commissioner Howard Chambers says the area recorded 14 murders between January and March 2026. That's a sharp decline from 48 during the corresponding period in 2025.
The monthly figures of 4, 7, and 3 murders for January, February, and March, respectively, reflect an outstanding 71% reduction, coupled with an impressive clear-up rate of 192%, that is 123 less crime. This achievement represents the lowest number of murders ever recorded in the first quarter since tracking began in Area 5. marking a truly phenomenal accomplishment in public safety and law enforcement. This success is a result of the unwavering commitment, professionalism, and strategic focus of all divisions, working in close partnership with the community and stakeholders.
Assistant Commissioner Howard Chambers, Area 5 Commander. ACP Chambers says all the divisions recorded improvements, with the St. Andrew North Police Division reporting 0 murders, down from 11 last year. The division has also gone 123 consecutive days without a murder. St. Catherine South recorded a 79% reduction in murders, while the St. Catherine North saw a 46% decline. In St. Thomas, murders fell by 40%. Overall, Area 5 also recorded a 44% reduction in major crimes, with 123 fewer incidents reported, making it the top-performing police area for the first quarter of 2026.
Local Government Minister Desmond McKenzie is condemning the attack of an elderly homeless man in Port Maria, St. Mary, and is calling for public cooperation in ensuring the swift apprehension of his attackers. The man was attacked and robbed by 2 young men on Wednesday, April 1, near the Port Maria market. Minister McKenzie says the victim is well known in the area, as he often helps vendors who use the market and is occasionally paid for his services. He notes that the assailants could have observed his habits and saw him as a convenient target. Minister McKenzie says while he is outraged by the attack, he is relieved that the man is now in stable condition.
World in a Minute is brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC. Hose assembly and supply, equipping Jamaica for success.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology, and integrity.
The World in a Minute.
Prime Minister Philip Davis has announced that the Bahamas will hold its next general election on May 12, officially launching the next phase of the country's democratic process. In a statement issued on Wednesday, Davis said he will advise the Governor-General to dissolve Parliament on Wednesday, April 8, in accordance with Article 66 of the Constitution. Writs of election will then be issued the following day, April 9, formally setting the stage for the national vote. Prime Minister Davis reminded voters that those holding valid purple voter ID cards do not need to register again. However, he urged first-time voters and those needing to update their information to act quickly. This as the voter registration deadline coincides with the dissolution of Parliament.
U.S. President Donald Trump has removed Attorney General Pam Bondi from her post as America's top law enforcement officer. Bondi is a longtime ally and fierce defender of Trump's administration. In a post on Truth Social, Trump says Bondi will move to a role in the private sector. Bondi's time leading the Justice Department was often overshadowed by its handling of the release of files relating to Jeffrey Epstein. She is the second Trump administration official in recent weeks to be cut from her post after Kristi Noem was ousted as Homeland Security in March. Bondi will be replaced by her former deputy.
World in a Minute was brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC. Hose assembly and supply, equipping Jamaica for success.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology, and integrity.
Recapping the top stories making nationwide news at this hour, gas prices to go up $4.50 as Petrojam announces another round of increases in fuel prices.
3 multilaterals exploring ways to ease the escalating global economic and energy disruptions caused by the U.S.-Israel war with Iran.
National Integrity Action also calls for the PNP's Dennis Gordon to recuse himself from Parliament's Public Accounts Committee.
And Young Jamaica goes further, saying both Dennis Gordon and Julian Robinson should resign from the PAC.
I'm Roby-Ann Williams.
And I'm Mahiri Stewart.
You can find the news on our website at revonews.ai and on the Revo News app. It's available on Google Play and the App Store. News next to the headlines at 6.
Is your investment idling? At LaSalle's Employees and Partners Cooperative Credit Union, we know the power of compounding. With Compounder, your medium-term goals grow stronger every month. No debate. Earn a whopping 4.5% offer rate over 12 months. Start with a minimum of $200,000 and watch your money multiply with the compounding effect. Growth isn't just steady, it's exponential. Call 876-923-5480 or visit www.lasellescreditunion.com. Lascelles Employees and Partners Cooperative Credit Union, the friendly financial institution of choice.
Remember the first time, the first glance, the first touch. This Easter weekend, rediscover that feeling at Couples Resorts. Escape to a couples-only all-inclusive paradise with gourmet dine-in, premium cocktails, and unforgettable ocean views, all included. Jamaican residents can celebrate your Easter escape with exclusive rates from $405 USD per night, valid through April 30th. Visit couples.com/residence. Couples Resorts, like the first time, every time.
Sports at 5 is brought to you by Total Tools. Total Tools, every tool, every trade.
Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to Sports here on Nationwide 90 FM. I'm Wayne Walker. Record champion St. Elizabeth Technical High School have all but retained their Grace Headley Cup cricket title at Manchester High School today, as their three-day final is coming to an end. In fact, it's heading for a draw late on the final day over in the Manchester capital of Mandeville. Steps are on the verge of title success after taking first innings points. In fact, they did so on the second day on Wednesday over at Manchester High. The Santa Cruz-based school made it 232 for 9 after resuming on 148 for 2 on the final day, and they were responding to 104 all-out by Manchester High. Tariq Brand led the scoring. He made 92 after starting the day just a 9 runs short of a century. Odain Binzi waited with 35 and Humario Reed 34 against Jade Moore 3 for 57 and Lennox Chance, who made 2 for 39. And batting a second time with a deficit of 128, Manchester High School at sports time 149 for 4, and that represents a lead of 21 runs. Demario Hall made 61, while Tesfa Ward Jr. was unbeaten on 41. That game coming close to conclusion at the minute. And Stets, by virtue of retaining the Headley Cup, will now meet the corporate area champion St. Jago High School in the All-Ireland Sporting Cup, the symbol of All-Ireland schoolboy cricket supremacy, later on this month. And Jamaica suffered a 39-run defeat to Trinidad and Tobago in the third match of their Cricket West Indies Rising Star on the 50 over bilateral series game over at the Jamaica Brawlers Field on Thursday. Outstanding bowling from Raheem Livingston. He bagged 4 for 25, and he was backed up by Rajay Magishi, who provided strong support. Really measly return of 3 for 2, and they combined to dismiss Trinidad and Tobago for 86 in 28 overs. But you know, the hosts, they fare even worse. They were dismissed for 47 in their reply, and that 47 came off 28 overs. So it was a bowler's day today over at the Jamaica Brawlers Field. Arnaldo Premchard starred for Trinidad and Tobago. So listen, 7 for 6, 7 wickets for 6 runs. Stunning performance. Giovanni McKnight, he chipped in with a 2 for 10. Meanwhile, the Windward Islands, they beat the Leeward Islands by 61 runs. That game was played at Coolidge in Antigua, and for a second straight game, Guyana and Trinidad and Tobago, that game scheduled for Everest was rained out, and lots of rain over in Guyana. About 3 games now rain out over there in Guyana in South America, and of course it's a rainy season. Former General Secretary of the Jamaica Football Federation, Dennis Chung, told Nationwide Sports that the JFF has missed out on at least 2.5 billion Jamaican dollars by failing to qualify for the FIFA World Cup finals in the US, Canada, and Mexico this summer. Chung says the potential revenue loss spread across prize monies, sponsorship deals, and of course the sales of merchandise. Chung says the diminished commercial activity is also tied to global exposure and fan engagement.
From a financial standpoint, I mean, we're looking at estimate direct money coming in half between prize money and pure incentives and sponsorship and everything, maybe 2.5 billion and up 2.5 to 3 billion, you might have been able to secure between all of those three.
And beyond the financial implications, Chung also emphasized the broader impact on the country's football by that failure on Tuesday night in Guadalajara, Mexico.
And then you're looking at other indirect benefits that would accrue from it. So you're talking about things like player contracts, because normally when a team goes to the World Cup, then the players will benefit from contracts, long-term contracts. You're talking about benefits, as you said, the shutdown to tourism, to businesses also. So there are indirect benefits from that. And the thing about those indirect benefits is that it flows for years.
That's Dennis Chung, former General Secretary of the Jamaica Football Federation. He was having a chat on Wednesday with Siobhan Campbell yesterday evening on the nation's business. And of course, he was on with the president of the Jamaica Football Federation, Michael Ricketts. And of course, Rudolph Speed, who was appointed interim head coach for the team for the FIFA Interconfed playoff in Mexico. Well, he says he will be going back as head of the Jamaica Football Federation's technical committee. He was given leave of absence, to allow for him to coach the team in those 2 games. But he says he won't be going back, and he's still open to accepting the national coaching job on a full-time basis. That decision by the Jamaica Football Federation Board of Directors should be coming in a couple of weeks' time, if not later. Finally, in sports at this time, it was a busy travel day for some of the island's top junior sport athletes, and they've gone off to participate in regional competitions. Top sprinter Shania Douglas was among 78 athletes traveled today to Grenada for the Carifta Games, which starts on Saturday. That's a junior track and field championship over there in St. George's, Grenada. And the Jamaica are highly favored to top the standings for a 40th straight time and to top the standings for 47th overall. Last year, they were in Trinidad and Tobago and they decimated the field, taking home some 78 medals, including 30 gold, 27 silver, and 21 bronze. Also traveling on Thursday afternoon was members of the Jamaica swimming team. They're heading off to Martinique to take part in the 39th Carifta Swimming Championship. Jamaica finished third in the point standings last year and will no doubt be attempting to go 2 ranks higher on the medal table. So good luck to the Jamaican junior athletes who are off to both St. George's, Grenada, and of course Martinique for Carifta Championship performances over the weekend. And that will do it for sports. At the minute, we're going to be back though at 6:05 in our main sports cast. Your presenter will be Alric Swebe.
Sports at 5 was brought to you by Total Tools. Total Tools, every tool, every trade.
For all your custom framing, printing, graphic design, and purchase of art, Make It Frame Art Jamaica Limited, serving you for over 40 years. The time by Frame Art Jamaica is
5:32.
Upgrade your drive with Hyundai and Scotiabank. 4.99% interest, 0 fees, and 1-year insurance free. Choose from the Hyundai Venue, Palisade, Tucson, or Creta. Visit Kingston or Montego Bay showrooms. The temperature by Hyundai is
26 degrees Celsius here in the nation's capital, Kingston. It's 28 in the western city, Montego Bay.
Remember the first time, the first glance, the first touch. This Easter weekend, rediscover that feeling at Couples Resorts. Escape to a couples-only all-inclusive paradise with gourmet dine-in, premium cocktails, and unforgettable ocean views, all included. Jamaican residents can celebrate your Easter escape with exclusive rates from $405 USD per night, valid through April 30th. Visit couples.com/residents. Couples Resorts, like the first time, every time.
1, 2, 3, boom. Green light.
You mean red light?
Green light. Everything easy and instant when you click the chatbot icon on the CNWJ Credit Union webpage.
Say what?
Just become a member of CNWJ Credit Union. You can save, make deposits, and get loans. Speaking of loans, once you become a member, you can instantly apply for a loan right there online and have the cash in your hand within 24 hours.
We are chatbot.
No, chatbot.
Conditions apply. CNWJ Credit Union. Discover the benefits of belonging.
Hi there. Here's some good news for these trying times. Quote, by God's word, I can see where I'm going. They throw a beam of light on my dark path. Unquote. Psalm 119, verse 105. Listen for God's word weekdays at 5:45 a.m. and 12:55 p.m. through
Oasis. Stop by for a refreshing drink and share a God perspective for the day.
Oasis, weekdays 5:45 a.m. and 12:55 p.m. right here on Nationwide, a revolution in media.
The rebroadcast of the Oasis can be heard weekdays at 5:45 a.m. Every day, Jamaicans have something to say. In the group chats, on social media, in the streets, there's a place where it all comes together. The comment section. This is not a lecture. This is not a call-in show. This is the hottest topics of the day, filtered through real opinions, real WhatsApp messages, real voice notes, real reactions. You agree, disagree, sound off, text it, voice note it, debate it. Comments section, Monday to Friday from 7 to 7:30 p.m. only on Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media.
Cover Story is brought to you by
Multilink. Roll with control. Use Multilink. Safe, fast, and accepted in more locations.
Multi-link, access every time, everywhere I go. Multi-link, 24/7 access for me. It's just a win-win when we use Multi-link. This card is Jamaican built, yeah. Fast and secure, you can use anywhere. Spend while supporting the economy.
Look for the Multilink logo on your card and benefit from Jamaica's largest debit payment network.
Multi-link, 24/7 access for me.
What would I do without my Multilink?
Good evening, good afternoon, pardon me, good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us inside the Cover Story right here on Nationwide at 5. I'm Tyrone Reed. Now, inside the Cover Story, we want to turn our attention to the increases in gas prices. That's the continued increases in gas prices. Of course, that on the global market having an impact on Jamaica life right here on the Rock. Over the past 4 weeks, Jamaica has experienced consistent increases in fuel prices, reversing earlier February declines and placing renewed pressure on consumers and businesses alike. Now, listeners, viewers, the fuel prices have risen in multiple consecutive weeks with increases of about $4.50 per litre for gasoline and diesel, occurring repeatedly throughout March 2026. In fact, within a 2-week span alone, motorists saw total increases of up to $9 per litre, highlighting the rapid pace of change. These hikes are largely driven by global oil market instability, particularly geopolitical tensions in the Middle East, which disrupted supply and pushed international oil prices higher. Of course, that tied directly to the U.S.-Israeli war in Iran. Higher fuel prices directly increase transportation costs, which then drive up the cost of goods and services across the country. This contributes to inflationary pressure, especially in food and essential items. Taxi operators, bus companies, and delivery services face higher operating costs. With global oil prices still volatile, analysts are warning that Jamaicans could face continued upward pressure in the coming weeks if the geopolitical tensions persist. We now focus on the impact of the oil price increases and the attendant and on life right here in Jamaica. And for that conversation, we are being joined by the president of the Jamaica Gasoline Retailers Association, that's the JGRA, Philip Chung, and President of the Transport Operators Development Sustainable Services, Edgerton Newman, as well as President of Juta's Kingston chapter, Noel Williams. Gentlemen, top of the afternoon to all of you. Welcome to Nationwide at 5.
Top of the afternoon to you. Good evening to you. Good evening to you all.
Indeed. Let's begin with you, Philip Chong. We've discussed this matter before. This is another conversation we're having because the prices are going up still. How are your members feeling the increases in prices? Are you seeing a decline in customers purchasing fuel? What are you noticing?
We are noticing a slight decline in sales in terms of volumes. We have the same customer base coming in, and their purchase habits are basically using a dollar value. Before I go on, allow me to just say good afternoon to you, Tyrone, Edgerton, and who was the other guest?
And that's Noel Williams.
Oh, Sir Noel. Okay. So pleasant good afternoon.
Indeed,
and
good
afternoon. Yes. And to all your listeners. So we are also facing the dilemma with the increase in prices. We're looking at approximately 5 weeks of solid increase of the 450.
Yes.
Amounting to somewhere, to the consumer, somewhere in around $22, $23 per liter of increase.
Of increases over the last 5 weeks. Say that again for us, Philip Chung. Put it into context. Since the war broke out in the Middle East, the consumers here in Jamaica have faced 5 consecutive weeks this year, $4.50?
5 consecutive weeks, including yesterday. So the prices change whenever the refinery announces their price. So including yesterday, it is 5 consecutive weeks that we're facing. It amounts to somewhere around 15% increase, or 15 to 18% increase, right, for the 5 weeks, which in dollar value, I mean, I am shocked because it affects us as retailers. $22.50 to be exact.
That's massive, and you have said here that you are noticing a decrease in sales among your members. Let's see if we can bring into the conversation those members, the guests who represent the transportation sector. We have the president of Juta's Kingston chapter with us, Noel Williams, as well as Edgerton Newman. Let's begin with you, Mr. Williams. How have your members been faring with these increases?
Well, I can certainly tell you that this is having a massive impact on our operators. As a matter of fact, we had a discussion just today. We were having a discussion, and I was also talking to my other counterparts in the northern part of Jamaica, which are also having some serious questions about the impact that this gas increase is causing on us. As Mr. Chong alluded, that for the last 5 consecutive weeks, we have every Thursday we have an increase. And while we understand the situation and we understand that all of this is caused because of the global situation, that war that is not affecting not only Jamaica but affecting many parts of the world, and we understand that. But at the same time, we are having a serious issue, and we were actually thinking if there's any way, which is going to be very difficult for any subsidy to be granted to certain sectors involved in transportation here in Jamaica. But for right now, as we're saying, all our operators are complaining. They are asking the question to me every day: what can we do? What next do we do from here? Do we start thinking about an increase of operation in terms of charging more for trips and from the airports and whatever? We have to be thinking in that direction. But for now, we are actually just watching and see what's happening and if there's going to be any changes anytime soon. But we are feeling the pinch seriously as we speak.
The JGRA president says among his members, they're noticing a slight decline in the purchasing of petrol. Are you seeing a decline in customers utilizing your services?
Well, certainly, yes, we are seeing that. And one of the things that I might even look at is that, I mean, normally you would have go to the gas station and you'd have tried to fill the vehicle up. Maybe you have to now try to buy, where you used to buy $20, you end up buying $10 because you have to be thinking of the cost. But it's affecting us directly in terms of customers, but at the same time we are trying to survive in the circumstances.
Look, listeners, this is the cover story. We're talking about the impact of the fuel prices, global increases that have translated to local increases. We're looking at the impact here in Jamaica. 5 consecutive weeks of $4.50 being added to the prices, and the JGR says its members are seeing a decline in people purchasing petrol. We're going to talk some more when we come back. We're going to hear from Edgston Newman of TONS. This is the cover story. Soon come.
For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales. They stock a wide variety of electrical supplies including plugs, switches, panel boards and conduits, plus energy-saving fixtures. ABC Electrical Sales stocks brands like GE, Siemens, Philips, Cutler Hammer and Allen Bradley. They also offer free island-wide delivery just to suit your needs. Visit them at Shop 8, Hatley Park Plaza, Kingston 10, or call 876-754-371-4-5 or 876-754-3825-8. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business.
Is your investment idling? At LaSalle's Employees and Partners Cooperative Credit Union, we know the power of compounding. With Compounder, your medium-term goals grow stronger every month. No debate. Earn a whopping 4.5% offer rate over 12 months. Start with a minimum of $200,000 and watch your money multiply with the compounding effect. Growth isn't just steady, it's exponential. Call 876-923-5480 or visit www.lasallescreditunion.com. LaSalle's Employees and Partners Cooperative Credit Union, the friendly financial institution of choice.
Welcome back. Thank you so very much for staying with us. We are focusing on the impact of the oil price increases, global increases, of course, and we're seeing increases locally here in Jamaica as well. We've heard from Philip Chung already. He's president of the Jamaica Gasoline Retailers Association, and we've heard from the president of JUTA's Kingston chapter, that's Noah Williams. Edgston Newman, over to you, president of the Transport Operators Development Sustainable Services. How are your members faring? What are you hearing from your members?
We are faring poorly, and I should tell you that Mr. Chung is right, because I was checking it at 4 weeks at $14 off, and he's now saying 5 weeks. So we're in serious trouble here in Jamaica looking for what's happening in the Middle East. I think every time Mr. Trump speaks, we are in more trouble. And if you follow him, then things is going to get worse in the next 2 weeks. I am looking where we are going 6-7 weeks down the line. A matter of fact, the company, government agency told us that we should not worry ourselves too much because they have reserve up to 4 or 5 weeks. Well, the 4 or 5 weeks is now up, and of course, we're going to feel it much, much more. My minister told me 3 weeks ago that we'll get our 16% in the next in June, and an official announcement in the next 4 weeks. Well, we have 1 week to go. And that 16% will not help us. We are way past that 16% now. And I can only say to the commuting public, brace yourself for a serious increase in terms of fares, because we can't take it anymore. We cannot go.
So how are you going to go beyond the 16% that you are being granted? You can't set the prices.
Oh, no, we can't. So the minister is willing to give us that 16% by June, understanding my brother. And we are facing this crisis now. It is a double whopper on us So we are wondering, where are we standing in the next 2 weeks from now? If the war continues, and it's going to continue for the next 3-4 weeks, what are we going to do? Because not only the transport, the taxi, but the truckers will tell you that they can't hold out any longer.
Yeah, but what I'm still not getting, why are you telling customers to brace for more than the 16% that you said was agreed? Who's going to give you that additional increase right now?
Tyrone, I want you to listen to me very carefully. We are owed at 16% for the past 2.5 years.
Right, and you did say the minister committed.
We are hoping to receive that. The minister has committed to give us that in June. Now, if the price of fuel continue to move, Mr. Trong, what will happen in the next 2-3 weeks? Are we not going to pass on that to the end persons in the transport sector, which is our customers?
So you are saying you anticipate that the minister is going to give you an over and above that 16%? That's what you're saying?
The minister has his job cut out for him. He expects to give us 16%.
No, but you are telling consumers to brace, Mr. Newman, and that's what I'm challenging. You don't have the autonomy to tell consumers that.
I have the authority to tell them from now to brace themselves for an increase in fares. And I'm not going to go beyond that. I'm just saying, on that 16% increase, with the continued war in the Middle East, what's going to happen? We have to expect something more.
So you and I agree that you can't increase the prices.
Absolutely not.
Good.
You can't.
So you can't be the one to tell customers to the traveling public to
I am
brace
saying to the customers
for
out
increases.
there that the minister has promised to give us a 16% increase. Brace themselves for that. I'm also saying that with what is happening in the Middle East, we expect more.
And I'm going to come back to you because we know how some taxi people are raising the prices without the official channel. We're going to come back to that, but let me bring Philip Chung back into the conversation. Philip Chung, I'm yet to believe that, but Philip Chung, let me ask you, any notion that we might run out of supplies? Because Edgerton Newman just raised that issue. In terms of the talks you've been having with Petrojam, we're okay when it comes to fuel supplies?
Well, Petrojam would answer that more accurately, but I do not believe that that is a critical part for Jamaica right now. While our fuel bill increases, I believe that the relevant agencies will adapt to it. So I don't really see a shortage of petrol. Mm-hmm. What I do see is more increases.
How much more of this do you think we can bear, Mr. Chung? How much more of this do you think we can bear?
You want to go back to in the 80s?
No, I don't know that we want to go back to
prices went
the 70s or the 80s.
Prices went above the crude. Where's the crude now? It's about $112 a barrel. Mm. Prices went up to about $120, $130 a barrel. You know. And Jamaica coped. We had to brace. Consumers started to pull. And as logics would dictate, if you say you're going to go down the road, you make sure that you have your list. So when you go down the road, you achieve everything that you want to achieve when you go back home. Mm. You know, because the increase, as stated before, is about 18%, right? It affects us as retailers because we operate on a single unit, a margin. And our margin is being eroded by the structure.
By the structure of?
The structure. My phone is giving me a little problem. By the structure of what is actually happening. Expenses are going up.
Mm. So have your members been passing on the $4.50 each time?
Yes, we have, but we passed on at a cost. It is at a cost to us, so we're losing somewhere around. We've lost somewhere around $4 of our margin since the increase.
So you've sought to absorb some of the increase then?
Yes, we are. And for how much longer we can hold on to that, I'm not sure.
Let me bring the JUTA Kingston chapter president back in. Mr. Williams, how do you go about getting increases in your prices that you charge? And are you calling for some kind of special increase to offset what we're seeing in terms of the volatility with the oil prices? Mr. Williams? It seems we've lost Mr. Williams. Back to you, Edson Newman. The people of Jamaica don't need to worry that some of your unruly members will try to gouge their eyes out with unlawful price increases.
You know, I don't know who is called unruly members. I don't have
you don't know them, the ones that drive on the opposite side of the road?
No, I see my guys now turning a corner, which seems to be a positive turn in the sector, and I want to commend them immensely. Let me tell you something.
Mr. Newman, if you bury your head in the sand, it's not going to change what is happening.
Would you believe since the start of the year, the transport sector has not had one fatal accident? You're not promoting that, Tyrone. You need to commend us on that because of continued training and development and communication with our members across the island. Things are looking up for them. That's why they're so quiet.
Even up to this morning, I saw some of your members doing it. Red plate, taxi operators, driving on the wrong side of the road.
You put on that blinkers looking out for them. You shouldn't be driving.
A blinker, you don't need. If you have a blinkers, you might not see them at the speed at which they're traveling, Mr. Newman. At the speed at which they're traveling. But can you guarantee us that your members, we won't be getting calls that your members are unlawfully increasing the prices?
Some of my members don't like when I talk to them, but I love to warn them. Any person increase their fears without the official go-ahead from government should be dealt with in the harshest and hardest way. And I say this to them all the time, don't increase. Let's wait and apply the pressure on government to give us the fair increase.
But you sound like a brand new man, Edgerton Newman. Weren't you among those who advocated for people to increase their prices even without... You've changed, Mr. Newman.
Your station nearly sent police force on me. I remember that.
I'm happy to see you're a changed man. Mr. Williams is back with us. Mr. Williams, how do you go about getting increases at JUTA? And do you see the need for some kind of special temporary increase to help you to offset the cost?
Well, our prices are actually we would have met as a transportation body, and we would have our discussion, and we would have looked to see where it is necessary, or if it's at all necessary, to ask for an increase. However, at this time, we are not really thinking about an increase, so to speak. What we are more on is a wait and see situation to see what will happen within the next few weeks. Because, as I say, we are already starting to feel the impact of what is happening currently.
So you set your own prices, is what you're saying to me? It's not set by the state?
No, it will have normally we'll have dialogue with the TBD tourism development.
The tourism development company, yes.
Right. So that's where we started our discussion from in terms of we increasing our
So you don't increase without having conversations with them?
No, we normally once they increase, we normally send all of those information over to the government department.
Have they asked you to hold strain, or this is just you holding strain on your own account?
They have not asked us to do anything right now as we speak, because of course we are having many other challenges in the transport sector, which we are trying to get some redress, and we're still not getting there.
What are those challenges?
Well, Some of the things then that we are facing in terms of the transportation now is the ride sharing that you have in Jamaica, especially with these Uber coming around. Even though the government is saying to us they are not official here in Jamaica, they have nothing to do with they're talking about their arrival here in Jamaica. But what is going on right now with where this Uber situation is concerned, that is also having a major impact on our operation, mainly the hotels and the airport, which that's where Juta mostly have our bases. And that is also we are trying to have dialogue with the government. They would have sent us some correspondence, but not to our satisfaction. And we are still seeking to meet with the government at the highest level to iron out decisions. But at this time, that is also having a major impact on our operation.
We'll continue to watch that one then and see where the conversations go with you and the government. Philip Chung, we'll give you the last word. I have less than 30 seconds left. What do you have to say to the motoring public, your clients? What do you have to say to them given the increases?
So we're feeling it just like us. So I would say to my customers, our customers, to be prudent, to drive with care and caution. There's no need for speeding and burning additional fuel. All it's going to do is burn a hole in your pocket.
Thank you so very much, Philip Chung. He's the president of the JGRA. Also heard from president of Todd's, Edgerton Newman, and president of Juta's Kingston chapter, Noah Williams. Gentlemen, thanks so much for the time and the thoughts. Do enjoy the holiday weekend.
Well, thank you. Call me Noel, please.
Indeed. This has been the cover story. The headlines are next.
Cover Story was brought to you by
Multilink. Roll with control. Use Multilink. Safe, fast, and accepted in more locations.
The hour was brought to you by the new KFC Saucy Wings. Hot and spicy wings tossed in sweet, red chili, or citrus chipotle barbecue sauce. Wings that will crunch the rest. New KFC Saucy Wings. It's finger licking good.
The time brought to you by Guardian Life. Live secure, live easy is
a minute after 6.
Nationwide headlines at 6.
Good evening with the headlines at 6. I'm Shalois Michael. The state-owned refinery Petrojam has announced another round of fuel price increases, citing sustained volatility in global oil markets linked to the ongoing conflict involving Iran, Israel, and the United States. Effective Thursday, the company increased the prices of all major fuels by $4.50 per liter. 87 gasoline will be sold at a billing price of $172.38 per liter, while 90 gasoline moves to $179.82 per liter. Automotive diesel oil will now cost $184.75 per liter, while ultra-low sulfur diesel priced at $191.59 per liter. The National Integrity Action NIA has added its voice to calls for the opposition Member of Parliament for East Central St. Andrew, Dennis Gordon, to recuse himself from Parliament's Public Accounts Committee, PAC. Dr. Gavin Myers is the Principal Director of the NIA.
If it is that they knowingly abuse the UHWI tax-exempt status, everybody who is involved, right? Every full extent of the law should be dealt with and should be met with. Administrative sanction, every sanction we can think of should be met there, because it is robbing our health services, our government services of needed revenue. But along with that, it is creating an unfair and unjust system, because their persons and companies are paying full taxes and having to compete with them. So it is wrong, immoral, and unjust.
It follows confirmation that Gordon's company, Jack Den Limited, is one of 4 private entities that benefited from the misuse of the tax exemption status of the University Hospital of the West Indies, UHWI.
The Auditor General report found that the company benefited from a wave of approximately $10 million to import 12 dialysis machines in 2024. Reports are that Jackden has since repaid the sum to the UHWI following the scandal. But Dr. Myers says that is not enough.
I am hopeful that his political party, the People's National Party, has either asked him to recuse himself or have removed him from the PAC. Penalties need to be levied. And no, it is not enough for someone to, oh, I am sorry, I'm paying the fines alone. If Mr. Gardner or Jackden can only pay and finish up, then it will not be a deterrent. And we need this to be a deterrent to him and others.
Dr. Gavin Myers, the Principal Director of the NIA. And Government Senator Marlon Morgan has sharply criticized opposition leader Mark Golding over what he describes as his dithering in addressing the growing UHWI Jackden controversy.
PNP President Mark Golding's prolonged inaction in dealing with the deepening scandal concerning the unlawful use of the University Hospital of the West Indies tax exemption status, which has engulfed a company owned by the PNP's Region 3 chairman, Dennis Gordon, is totally unacceptable.
He further contends that even if corrective steps are taken at this stage, the delay has already eroded public confidence in the opposition leader's credibility.
This is the same Mark Golding who, on the campaign trail, claimed to be zero tolerant in relation to such acts. Golding has absolutely no credibility. Even if he takes belated action at this point, his prolonged inaction confirms to the Jamaican people that he cannot be trusted, and he cannot be trusted to treat with the matters of accountability, transparency, and probity in any serious manner.
Marlon Morgan, Government Senator. Police in Area 5 are reporting a historic drop in murders, with killings falling to their lowest level on record for the first quarter of the year. Area 5 comprises St. Thomas, St. Andrew North, as well as the St. Catherine North and South Police Divisions. Area 5 Commander Assistant Commissioner Howard Chambers says the area recorded 14 murders between January and March 2026.
The monthly figures of 4, 7, and 3 murders for January, February, and March, respectively, reflect an outstanding 71% reduction, coupled with an impressive clear-up rate of 192%, that is 123 less crime. This achievement represents the lowest number of murders ever recorded in the first quarter since tracking began in Area 5. Marking a truly phenomenal accomplishment in public safety and law enforcement. This success is a result of the unwavering commitment, professionalism, and strategic focus of all divisions, working in close partnership with the community and stakeholders.
Overall, Area 5 also recorded a 44% reduction in major crimes, with 123 fewer incidents reported, making it the top-performing police area for the first quarter of 2026. ACP Chambers says the police will continue to intensify efforts to maintain and improve on the progress made.
The era of crime will not stop. Message is clear. The era for accepting lawlessness as the new normal is over. We are restoring safety, we are restoring order, and we will continue to use every lawful tool at our disposal to ensure that this progress is permanent. So we are encouraging our citizens to remain engaged, continue working alongside with the police to build and sustain safer communities. This is not a moment to be complacent, it's a moment for us to really double down, and so the effort will continue.
ACP Howard Chambers, the Police Area 5 Commander. Those were the headlines at 6. I'm Shaloy Smichael. Sports is next.
From early childhood to higher education, from smart classrooms to school nutrition, Jamaica's education system is evolving fast. The Ministry of Education, Skills, Youth and Information is leading the charge. Broadband in schools across the island, 6 new STEM-focused secondary schools on the way. Thousands of teachers trained in cutting-edge technology and more students in high-demand TVET programs than ever before. We're empowering learners, equipping educators, and transforming education for Jamaica's future. The Ministry of Education, Skills, Youth and Information, we are trending, transforming education for national development.
For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales. They stock a wide variety of electrical supplies including plugs, switches, panel boards and conduits, plus energy-saving fixtures. ABC Electrical Sales stocks brands like GE, Siemens, Philips, Cutler Hammer and Allen Bradley. They also offer free island-wide delivery just to suit your needs. Visit them at Shop 8, Hatley Park Plaza, Kingston 10, or call 876-754-371-4-5 or 876-754-3825-8. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business.
Multi-link, access every time, everywhere I go. Multi-link, 24/7 access for me. It's just a win-win when we use multi-link. This card is Jamaican built, yeah. Fast and secure, you can use anywhere, spend while supporting the economy. Look for the multi-link logo on your card and benefit from Jamaica's largest debit payment network. Multi-link, 24/7 access for me.
What would I do without my multi-link?
If you love the vibes, the laughs, and the real talk, then you're one of us. Don't just listen, belong. Join the nationwide 90 FM Family Club on Patreon.
As a parent, you give your children a good start in life. You nurture, protect, and guide them. Parenting is a process that prepares your child for independence. As your child grows and develops, there are many things you can do to help your child. Stay tuned to The Big Show, nationwide this morning, for parenting tips. Fridays at 6:53 a.m. Only here will you learn everything you need to know about parenting. Tips to help parents navigate the incredibly challenging and rewarding journey of child rearing. Parenting tips on Nationwide at 90 FM, the revolution in media.
It's undeniable that we should be together.
The true beauty of music is that it connects people. It carries a message. It speaks to you. It changes you. And that's exactly what we do just for you every Sunday as we take you to Urban Paradise, 9:10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Urban Paradise is our weekly musical journey that will serve up 110 glorious minutes of positive storytelling through music, mixed in with inspirational features to provoke thought and to heal the soul.
Like a dream come true, just wanna be with you.
So join me, Diane Ashton Smith, this and every Sunday, 9:10 a.m. to 11 a.m. here on Nationwide 90 FM, a revolution in media. Urban Paradise, opening our hearts, connecting to others.
Good evening with your sports report. I am Alric Swaby. We bowl things off with some cricket as Australia women completed a 3-0 series sweep over West Indies following their 9-wicket win in the third and final one-day international at Warner Park in St. Kitts on Thursday. Batting first, the Windies were bowled out for 136 in 35 overs. Chanel Henry top scored with 42, while captain Hayley Matthews made 34. Alana King took 5 for 19, chasing 137 to win. The visitors reached the target inside 20 overs. Phoebe Litchfield made an unbeaten 68 and Elsie Perry 33 not out. Final scores: West Indies women 136, Australia women 137 for 1. Now, record champion St. Elizabeth Technical High School retained their Grace Headley Cup cricket title over Manchester High on the final day of their 3-day championship decider at Manchester High. Stead secured first innings points in the rain-affected encounter. The Santa Cruz-based school made a 232 all-out in reply to Manchester's 104 all-out. Tariq Bryan led the scoring with 92 after resuming day 3 just 9 runs short of a century. Odain Baines weighed in with 35 and Humaro Reed 34 against Keelan Jones 4 for 84, Jade Moore 3 for 57 and Lennox Chance 2 for 39. Batting a second time with a deficit of 128, Manchester High made 181 for 8 declared, setting Stead's 54 for victory. Damara Hall made a 61 and Test for Ward Jr. 54. Now, Jamaica suffered a 39-run defeat to Trinidad and Tobago in their third match of the CWI Rising Star Under 15 50 over bilateral series at Jamaica Boilers Field on Thursday. Outstanding bowling from Raheem Livingston 4 for 25 and Rajay Makichi with 3 for 2 combined to dismiss Trinidad and Tobago for 86 in 28 overs. The hosts feared even worse when they replied as they crashed to 47 all out in 28 overs. Arnaldo Pranchand starred for TNT with a remarkable 7 for 6. Giovanni McKnight chipped in with a 2 for 10. Meanwhile, the Windward Islands beat the Leeward Islands by 6-1 runs in their match at Coolidge in Antigua, and the Guyana versus Barbados game in Guyana was abandoned without a ball bowled. Now, it was a busy travel day for some of Jamaica's top junior sports performers as they jet off to participate in regional competitions. Top sprinter Janard Douglas was among 78 athletes who departed the island at 3 on Thursday afternoon for the 2026 Carifta Junior Championships at St. George's, Grenada, starting on Saturday. Jamaica are highly favored to top the table for a 40th straight time and a 48th title overall after collecting 78 medals in Trinidad and Tobago last year, including 30 golds, 20 silver and 21 bronze. Also traveling on Friday was Jamaica's team to the 39th Carifta Swimming Championships in Martinique, April 4 to 10. Now, President of the Jamaica Olympic Association, UHWI, Christopher Samuda, says the International Olympic Committee's IOC recent decision to ban the transgender athletes from competing in women's events should not come as a surprise, noting that the move reflects ongoing global debates around fairness and inclusion in sports. Orion Buchanan tells us more. Samuda was responding to the IOC's announcement delivered by its president, Kirsty Coventry, that eligibility for women's events will now be determined by what has been described as a once-in-a-lifetime sex test. Coventry says the policy is expected to effectively bar transgender women and athletes with difference in sexual development from participating in female categories at IOC-run competition. According to Samuda, the decision sits at the intersection of science, law, and ethics, making it highly complex. Now, former General Secretary of the Jamaica Football Federation, Dennis Chung, says the JFF has missed out on at least 2.5 billion Jamaican dollars by failing to qualify for the 2026 World Cup finals in the USA, Mexico, and Canada this summer. Chung says the potential revenue loss spread over prize monies, sponsorship deals, and sales of merchandise. He says the diminished commercial activity is also tied to global exposure and fan engagement.
From a financial standpoint, I mean, we're looking at estimate direct money coming in half between prize money and player incentives and sponsorship and everything, maybe 2.5 billion and up, 2.5 to 3 billion. You might have been able to secure between all of those three.
Beyond the financial implications, the former JFF executive emphasized the broader impact on the country's football.
And then you're looking at other indirect benefits that would accrue from it. So you're talking about things like player contracts, because normally when a team goes to the World Cup, then the players will benefit from contracts, long-term contracts. You're talking about benefits, as you said, they shut down to tourism, to businesses also. So there are indirect benefits from that. And the thing about those indirect benefits is that it flows for years.
Meanwhile, Rudolph Speed, who was appointed interim head coach for the Interconfederation playoffs in Mexico, says he won't return to his job as head coach of the JFF Technical Committee. Speed stepped down from the post at the end of last year to allow for him to take charge of the team. The president of the Jamaica Football Federation, Michael Ricketts, believes more entities could have provided financial assistance during the Reggae Boys' failed FIFA World Cup qualifying campaign, which ended on Tuesday in a 1-0 defeat against the Democratic Republic of Congo. According to Ricketts, while it's disappointing that the team fell short in their bid, they did well given the circumstances.
You know what's unfortunate is that now we're mourning, but there are persons and entities who could have helped the process. And very few persons really came on board. I mean, we came up short in a number of areas, not just not qualifying, but preparedness, lack of enough finances to support the process. We have done well. I mean, we are short on so many amenities that would have made life a lot easier.
Ricketts added that there are a lot of other positives the country can celebrate despite the failed campaign.
Not because we have not qualified for the World Cup. It doesn't mean we have not done well. I mean, our under 17 boys just qualified. And if you should go through, our achievements over the years, second to none around the Caribbean. But not because we have not qualified. We qualified for 2 consecutive Women World Cup, and we're going to qualify for a third. But the real big fish is our senior men's cup, which I've not been able to do for the last 10 years. Like I've said, we would have given it the best shot. Of course, we probably made some mistakes along the way.
Michael Ricketts, I'm Alric Swaby, and that's your sports.
I only have Hanes. Make yourself comfortable in authentic Hanes underwear. Nothing beats the never out of style ultra soft 100% premium cotton Hanes underwear. Hanes Comfort Fit V, crew neck and A shirts, absorbent Hanes socks, Comfort Flex Hanes boxer briefs for men, and stylish itch-free Hanes underwear for women and kids. Make yourself comfortable this holiday season, inside, out, and underneath with Hanes underwear for that cool all-day comfort everyone deserves.
I only have Hanes for you. Remember the first time, the first glance, the first touch. This Easter weekend, rediscover that feeling at Couples Resorts. Escape to a couples-only all-inclusive paradise with gourmet dine-in, premium cocktails, and unforgettable ocean views, all included. Jamaican residents can celebrate your Easter escape with exclusive rates from $405 USD per night, valid through April 30th. Visit couples.com/residents. Couples Resorts, like the first time, every time.
Multi-link, access every time, everywhere I go. Multi-link, 24/7 access for me. It's just a win-win when we use multi-link. This card is Jamaican built, yeah. Fast and secure, you can use anywhere. Spend while supporting the economy.
Look for the multi-link logo on your card and benefit from Jamaica's largest debit payment network.
Multi-link, 24/7 access for me.
What would I do without my multi-link?
KFC, yeah, we at it again. With the new saucy wings, go and tell your friends. I want you know, KFC saucy wing, brand new. 2 new flavors just for you. Sweet red chili and citrus chipotle barbecue. Hot and spicy, saucy wings, give me daily and nightly. Flavor kick, me know you are gonna like
New
it.
KFC saucy wings, delicious hot and spicy wings, tossed in sweet red chili or citrus chipotle barbecue sauce. Wings that will crunch the rest. KFC saucy wings, it's finger licking good.
That one you know, KFC saucy wings.
Do you have a consumer-related issue? Want to learn more about matters concerning you as a consumer? Well, keep it locked to Nationwide 90 FM for the Consumer Hour with me, Nora Gay Banton. Weekdays from 9 to 10 a.m. For all your consumer-centric matters, stay tuned to the Consumer Hour on Nationwide 90 FM, a revolution in media.
Come into the parlor, there's a welcome there for you.
Welcome to the Mayor's Parlor with Desmond McKenzie.
From 1 to 6 p.m. every Sunday, you'll now get more of your favorite vintage music.
Put your head on my shoulder.
Nationwide 90 FM will transform your Sunday into a musical time machine that will take you way back.
Come with me. Let's go back in time.
This magic moment.
Journey into yesteryear with Desmond McKenzie in the Mayor's Parlor.
I've got the music to jog your memory and make you smile.
Put your sweet lips a little closer to the phone.
Sit back, relax, and enjoy the best in vintage music.
Come into the Mayor's Parlor every Sunday between 1 and 6 p.m. here on Nationwide 90 FM, a revolution in media.
Hi there. Here's some good news for these trying times. Quote, "By God's word, I can see where I'm going. They throw a beam of light on my dark path." Unquote. Psalm 119, verse 105. Listen for God's word weekdays at 5:45 a.m. and 12:55 p.m. through
Oasis. Stop by for a refreshing drink and share a God perspective for the day.
Oasis. Weekdays 5:45 a.m. and 12:55 p.m. right here on Nationwide, a revolution in media.
The rebroadcast of the Oasis can be heard weekdays at 5:45 a.m.
On April 4 from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m., Outside with Pepita will broadcast from the Powered by Total Energies activation at the Total Energy Service Station, Manor Park. The promotion will also be happening at Halfway Tree Clock Tower and Hero Circle service stations. This community-driven event celebrates Total Energy's commitment to Jamaica. Spend $5,000 or more on fuel and spin the wheel for a chance to win your share of $400,000 in gas.
Oh my God!
Enjoy live testimonials, interactive product demos featuring Excellium Fuels Advanced 3 additive formula for cleaner engines. So tune in to Outside with Pepita from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. on April 4. It's all about rewarding customers, boosting engagement, and showcasing quality, care, and top-tier performance. It's the Powered by Total Energies activation at the Total Energies at Manor Park. Catch our live stream on our YouTube channel at Nationwide 90 FM Live, or keep your station locked to Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media.
Every day, Jamaicans have something to say. In the group chats, on social media, in the streets, there's a place where it all comes together. The comment section. This is not a lecture. This is not a call-in show. This is the hottest topics of the day, filtered through real opinions, real WhatsApp messages, real voice notes, real reactions. You agree, disagree, sound off, text it, voice note it, debate it. Comments section, Monday to Friday from 7 to 7:30 p.m. only on Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media.
Listeners, welcome back. Thank you so much for staying with us right here inside Nationwide at 5. We're inside the nation's business, and I want to turn our attention to the matter involving Dennis Gordon and whether or not he should recuse himself from Parliament's Public Accounts Committee, PAC. Now, the Executive Director of Jamaicans for Justice, that's Michael Jackson, has joined the call for Member of Parliament for East Central St. Andrew, Dennis Gordon, to recuse himself from Parliament's Public Accounts Committee, the PAC. Gordon is also the principal of Jackden Limited. Jackden was named by the Auditor General as one of 4 private companies which benefited from UHWI's misuse of its tax exemption status. Well, just to be clear, Jackden wasn't initially named in the Auditor General's report. Of course, the names being confirmed in Parliament this week. Now, In a post on X on Thursday, though, Jackson says if this is not done voluntarily, Gordon should be removed to eliminate any conflict of interest. Jackson says otherwise, the proceedings of the PAC will not be taken seriously by the public. The JFJ executive director says the private companies involved should not only repay the funds, but also face appropriate fines and penalties. Meanwhile, Jackson is questioning how many other companies benefited from this arrangement of diverting funds from the public coffers. She says when a tax exemption certificate is misused, it is deeply upsetting. The JFJ boss says the country must demand accountability not only in the immediate UHWI situation, but beyond this one. We are now being joined by the Principal Director of National Integrity Action, NIA, that's Dr. Gavin Myers, as well as political commentators Kevin O'Brien Chang and Dr. Nadine Spence. Lady and gentlemen, welcome. We only have Dr. Spence and Kevin O'Brien Chang with us. We're still trying to touch base with Dr. Gavin Myers. All right. Good evening, lady and gentlemen.
Hi, good evening, Tyrone. Good evening, Kevin.
Let me begin with you, Dr. Nadine Spence. Do you support this call from the JFJ boss that Dennis Morris, he needs to, the Jack Deng principal, Dennis Gordon, should recuse himself from Parliament's PAC?
Of course I do. I think it's the logical thing. I think it's the only thing that makes sense given the facts of the case. It just, to me, I don't know. I don't think that we can argue. It's a logical thing to do.
And do you take a dim view of the fact that he hasn't done it already?
Yes, I take a dim view in respect of the processes themselves that having gone on the committee, it should be automatic that those who are members know that if they're embroiled in such a controversy, it should have been agreed on from before that should anything like this happen and your name is brought into disrepute, anything is implicated against you that could bring the committee into disrepute, that you step aside.
And not simply just recuse yourself from a sitting. You're saying he should exit the committee as a member.
He should exit the committee, especially because of the nature of the nature of the offence against him. It speaks to the heart of the committee's responsibilities.
I want to bring Kevin O'Brien Chang into the conversation, but we're up on a time signal. Let's take a break right here and come back with Kevin's thoughts.
Drive the most exciting new vehicles in Jamaica. Schedule your 2024 Ford Ranger pickup or Ford Everest 7-seater SUV test drive now. Call or visit KIG today.
The time by KIG is
6:31.
Recently, I've been in the public domain in news about certain issues, which I can speak about, I don't know much about. What can you say about that issue? What you have learned from it?
I'll just direct it to the Auditor General report. When you come back and show me where my name is in the Auditor General report, we can have a conversation.
Okay, so that I can't tell what was in the public domain.
Now, that video there was taken outside of Parliament on February 12, 2026 at the ceremonial opening of Parliament. And the person you're seeing in that video, yes, is the embattled East Central St. Andrew Member of Parliament, Dennis Gordon. I'm going to play that for you again. He was asked about the matters concerning the UHWI and the abuse of the tax exemption status. And this is what the Member of Parliament, Dennis Gordon, had to say.
Recently, I've been in the public domain in news about certain issues, which I can speak about, I don't know much about. what can you say on that issue? What you have learned from this?
I'll just direct it to the Auditor General report. When you come back and show me where my name is in the Auditor General report, we can have a conversation.
Okay, so that account what was at the public domain?
Not concerned with what's in the public domain. He says, when you see my name in the Auditor General's report, then you can come back and talk to me. This is February 12, Kevin O'Brien Chang. He was still doubling down. Today, now we're hearing his company has paid over 10.1 million in those in customs duties. What do you make of that, Kevin O'Brien Chang, of that response, given what we know now?
I talked to a lawyer friend. He said repayment is an admission of guilt. It does not exonerate. If you rob a bank and then give the money back, you're still guilty of a crime. So by paying that money back, it's admission. They have admitted you're guilty. She has admitted he's guilty. And you know, I remember when Floyd Green resigned during COVID, right? He was at a bar with friends.
And I know Movement Day, yes.
Yeah, right. And still, I guess principally, maybe the leader, they found he broke the law. Basically, it was the law to not gather like that, and he resigned. Here's a case where somebody had admitted breaking the law. Or the Jamaican for Justice lady saying it's unfortunate the misuse of the tax exempt certificate. It's not unfortunate, it's a crime. It's a crime to misuse a tax exempt certificate. So I don't know what grounds there could be for him not resigning. I mean, why should he not resign? You see, me and maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm too optimistic. I thought we reached a standard in Jamaican politics where when credible accusations are made about someone and there's proof and that something could be wrong, which innocent is proven guilty, even though by repaying it, he's admitting he was guilty of not paying the money when it should have been paid. I thought that new standard had been set. Unfortunately, it seems maybe we're too optimistic. And what is more unfortunate is, they always say it's not the crime, it's the cover-up. This was known. This must have been known to Mr. Gordon. He paying the money now. When he made that statement, he knew what had not been done.
And I find
it was a blatant lie, because he knew he's paying me money now because he had been found out. But at that time, he knew the money had not been paid.
Which is where I want to bring in Gavin Myers. Dr. Myers, are you with us?
I am with you. I'm listening.
Doctor, not too shabby. Welcome to Nationwide at 5. Dr. Myers, and these are the aggravating circumstances based on my own reading of this that I used to inform my view on what should happen. You see him outside of the ceremonial opening of Parliament denying. He had his law firm write to media houses. One media house took that letter, did a public apology and retraction, and that, I would say, damaged that media house's reputation in the eyes of the reasonable man. Doesn't the actions of Dennis Gordon make this whole thing even more egregious that we're looking at?
So maybe I'm mixing up a couple of things. One, Dennis Gordon as a person, and two, Jack Den as a company, and maybe three, Dennis Gordon as a principal for Jack Den. So Jack Den itself has done egregious wrong and should be met with everything. And Dennis Gordon, the person now, how will Dennis Gordon deal with it? It's something that we have to deal with now today.
Hold on, what do you mean Jack Den has done something? Jack Den operates in and of itself. You're separating Jack Den from Dennis Gordon?
I'm saying that Tyrone Reid and Nationwide are different things.
Yeah, but I'm not the principal of Nationwide News.
No, I'm just using that point by saying that please don't think I'm taking up for anybody.
No, man, I'm trying to understand where you're going, man. Not at all. No, just understand where you're going with the point.
I'm just saying that Jack Den, the company, has done egregious, and they and persons within the government service at the University Hospital of the West Indies have colluded. I'm using colluded, sorry if I can't find another word. I don't know what the word is. But have colluded to make we lose money. So they should meet every single thing you can find. And when I was asked first, before it was named, he was named or whatever it is, because I'm not a lawyer, I never knew if I could have said that it was Dennis Gordon or if it was Jack Ben. I never knew. So first and foremost, I have been clear. So everybody who do wrong needs to get hit. But even more, I want to go further on this, and I think Kevin O'Brien Chang brought it up earlier. There are quite a few companies and individuals who have been playing in the face with the brazeness and lies that are critically wrong, that are so wrong, egregious. They are playing our face, and they are playing our face because they think that they can be protected. And I don't want anyone to focus on any one person and don't miss that. Because there are several people who are Mr. Big Man, Miss Big Woman, who have been doing this and hiding behind laws and rules and just certain standards that don't hold for the common man.
Yeah,
so, yes.
Except though, I want us to focus our attention on, because the member of parliament, a legislator, someone who contributes to the crafting of laws in the country. And this is why Jack Den's involvement has taken on much more of a public interest than the others, because of the fact that a legislator is said to be the principal of this particular entity. Now, my question to all of you, we've heard that he should recuse himself from the PAC. The PAC is examining this matter. That goes without saying. He should have just tendered his resignation as a member of the PAC. Right? That has not happened. He's just recused himself from this meeting based on what the chairman of the PAC has told us. But given everything that we've seen so far, Dr. Spence, let me come back to you. Should Dennis Gordon resign as a member of parliament, given what we know now? Should he resign as a member of parliament? Should he be removed from the chairmanship of the PNP? Given what we know now, the fact that he has paid this 10.1 million, Dr. Nadine Spence, beginning with you, should he resign from as a member of parliament, as chairman of the PNP's Region 3, and from the PAC, everything? Do you think what has happened requires that?
I think for me, clearly the imperative here is around the PAC, and that he cannot now sit in that body, given what we know. And I agree with Kevin that paying back an amount suggests, not suggests, it's an admission of guilt. So I think where that is concerned, certainly he needs to step aside. The member of parliament, I'm not... In a world where that is a part of the Jamaican political tradition, I'd say yes, he should step aside, but it's not. It's not going to work out that way. You might
should that be where we move towards, though, Dr. Spence?
It should be. It should be that for every public official whose values or whose responsibilities are compromised as it relates to their public office, when they call the country's reputation in disrepute, they are asked to step aside, or they know that they should step aside. So, I think it would be where we would...
Should he do the honorable thing and step aside?
No, perhaps, but he's not going to.
All right, Kevin O'Brien Chang, what say you? Should he do the honorable thing and step aside from all the public offices that he holds? We've lost Kevin O'Brien Chang. Dr. Gavin Myers, you with us?
I am.
Yes. Should he do the honorable thing and step aside from all the public offices he holds?
Here's my thing. I don't want to speak about him as a gentleman. I want to speak about him on the point of what can we do on the ethics committee, what can we do on the privileges committee.
But why wouldn't you want to speak about him? He's involved.
Because all right, so let me use the point I'm making, and let me use it and explain my point. I want the full force of the law to be brought down on people. I don't I am not asking for a resignation here, you know. What I'm asking for is that the full force of the law, that everything that can be thrown, every book, every single book that we can find, be thrown. So I'm saying, if there is something that he has breached, we should throw every book, and we should have the privilege committee, the ethics committee, and whatever committees that there are in Parliament that can hold members to their sanction that happens. So rather than waiting on someone to either develop a content or not, we need that within Parliament, but we also need that within the political parties.
Yeah, but we can't also shy away from calling upon people to resign.
No.
Let me get it out. We also can't shy away from Dr. Myers using our voices to say you've done this, and because you've done this, even if it's not illegal to the point where you can be sentenced for a crime, but if you don't get up to that moral bar, if you don't get up to that accountability bar, we're saying, look, you should resign. And we've seen that we've called on people who've not committed crimes to resign. And all I'm simply asking you, Dr. Gavin Myers, is this. What has transpired based on what we know now, the denials, having his attorneys write to media houses saying you need to retract this, one media house did, and knowing very well that these are the facts and that his company is involved. You see the doubling down at the ceremonial opening of Parliament. Is all of that egregious enough, flagrant enough for us to say, no, you need to go. You should resign. That's what I'm asking.
You're asking me, and I am happy that you have asked that. Every member of Parliament needs to follow the laws and the rules, and you're right, they should, but we should not be waiting or asking for them to do it based upon some voluntary code. We need them to follow the laws and rules, and I am very careful on this. I have been asking for this. Whenever a member of Parliament or any person does anything, we need for them to follow the rules, and it is critical that we depend on the rules. If we only ask for resignations and think resignations are enough, then we're going to have
no, but that's a straw man, Dr. Myers. That's a straw man. Nobody's saying this is the only thing that should happen.
Not a straw man, respectively.
But I'm asking you, should he resign? It's a simple, pointed question. Do you think this is enough that warrants his resignation?
So I can't. Let me speak about two things. One, he should resign from the PAC. Done. On the point of resigning from Parliament, I am not certain, and I will take counsel from Kevin O'Brien Chang and from Dr. Spence on what has happened before in terms of this type of situation in Jamaica or Commonwealth parliamentary history. I will take counsel there. But I know for certain that I think that he should resign from the Parliament Public Accounts Committee.
All right.
That's my point of view.
All right. How about you, Kevin O'Brien Chang? You're back with us. Is this flagrant enough for him to resign on all fronts?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, the people that hire a parliamentarian are the people. So the people are the ones who fire. He can't stay there on that issue because only the people can fire him. But the PAC and the regional chairman, the PNP has the power to make him step down for that one. And this
he can resign as well. He can do the decent thing and resign. As well. Should he do it? Is what I'm asking.
No, of course he should resign from the PAC and the regional chairman. He can argue that I'm an MP elected by the people, I'm only accountable to the people, and I can wait till the next election. But there's a letter in the spirit of the law, I hear the NIA gentleman talking about the rules and all that. There's a letter of the law and there's a spirit of the law. And the parliamentarians are supposed to set examples for the country. They are our highest elected body. And he's setting a very poor example with a string of lies. And now he has been named there in the open. If he stays there, he is hurting his reputation and certainly his party and his party leader. Because how can they possibly ever speak about corruption again when you have a clear case of somebody admitting they illegally did something? And also, and the point is, he is a legislator making laws. You are making laws and then you are breaking laws. some of the spirit of the thing, and he probably should resign as MP. But of course, you know, I keep saying this, since 1990, not a single Jamaican MP has been charged or convicted of anything since Jack Smith Jr. back that time. They protect each other, and the public is very cynical about that. But no matter what they say in public, they never seem to stand up. And the system itself, we have to have, what kind of system do we have? The Integrity Commission got $2 billion, and we still can't convict a single parliamentarian of any wrongdoing. I mean, we have the most honest politicians in the world, as I say. Either that or they have a fantastic system. But I tell you, from a point of the politics, the PNP should be looking and saying, what are we doing to ourselves now? How can we talk about corruption again? Mr. Goley made big speeches, this slightest amount of corruption. Julian Robinson, widely seen as a very clean guy, a potential future leader, and he is there today saying, this doesn't look good, what your explanations are there. And he talked about the money being paid back, a son of a Chief Justice, I believe. And he wouldn't know that paying back money is an admission of guilt. So it's not looking good for anyone, and the public is looking for examples from the higher-ups. And if Mr. Gordon stays there, Mr. Golding is going to get the blame. He has the power to tell him to resign.
Before we have
Leader must lead.
Before we have to skedaddle, this is what Mark Golding, one of the clips from early in January when he was asked about the Dennis Gordon situation. Can we get that very last clip in this wrap studio? The very last clip in the wrap. No, with Mark Golding, from Mark Golding. That final clip with Mark Golding, when he was pressed for details. Yes.
The media is fixating on the allegation made by one media house. But when you look at the report, there are many important issues in that report that need to be addressed and should not be swept under the carpet. There are multiple players involved, and it's important that we don't abandon any kind of balance in how we deal with this thing and focus on what is actually before us from a credible source. And the only credible source presently having provided any information to the public on this is the Auditor General through her report. And to the extent that she has findings in there that warrant further investigation, I expect those further investigations to be done by the appropriate authorities. And when they make their findings, we will address that. But at this point, we're not proceeding on the basis of speculation, character assassination, or anything of that nature.
And if you could give me that very first clip as well, where you said he spoke with Dennis Gordon, Mark Golding, that is.
He knows my position because my position is not new, and he agrees with my position that, chips must fall where they lie if there's anything in any kind of allegation. But at this juncture, he has maintained that he has done nothing wrong, and I have no reason to doubt that because I haven't seen any official investigation, any official report suggesting otherwise. And I'm not prepared to engage in any speculative chase after any individual, which is just based on rumor or based on conjecture or based on information, the source of which we have no knowledge of.
We give you, that's the voice here of Mark Golding speaking in January about the situation. Dr. Gavin Myers, does the opposition leader have enough to take action against Dennis Gordon?
The People's National Party should be taking action. The People's National, I believe that, and this should be so. Every political party should have an ethics committee, and the ethics committee, I am hopeful now, should be making statements and should be asking for persons to make an account. Because you can't expect your house to be dirty and want good things out of road. The People's National Party and all political parties in Jamaica and across the world. And I want to bring something, I don't know if you remember, we can stretch your hand so far back, to during COVID when there was a VIP lane by the Conservatives for certain of their members to get contracts. This is in Britain. And we saw how much money was lost and how badly the country then faced because of this. It's this type of situation where persons accept that they are above scrutiny from outside. So the political parties have to take a stand. This is something that political parties need to stand up on.
All right.
And I'm hopeful that the Jamaica Labour Party also recognizes this and also looks within. And I'm not saying that there's anything bad happening there, but I'm saying that they need to look within to ensure that every appearance, every sight of somebody who is breaching the rules like this be dealt with strongly and quickly. Because we can't have money and going like so.
I'm out of time, but I need to get Dr. Nadine Spence and Kevin O'Brien Chang on that quickly. Does the opposition leader have enough to take action against Dennis Gordon, pardon me?
Yes, man, I think he does, and I think especially given the opposition's own posture in light of what had happened with the Prime Minister and the whole Integrity Commission, the PNP must. It doesn't have a choice, because if it doesn't, it will have certainly compromised its standing, and Jamaicans are looking at it more from that perspective than anything else.
Kevin O'Brien Chang, final
I
word.
agree with Nadine completely. Mr. Golding has to back up, he talk the talk, now he has to walk the walk and show he means what he says and get the confidence of the people behind him that, yes, I'm a serious person. When I say something, I mean it.
Thank
you.
you.
He campaigned as integrity boss. That is what he wears on his hat, integrity boss.
Thank you, lady and gentlemen. I appreciate the time and the thoughts. Do enjoy the holiday weekend.
Thanks so much. Thanks, everybody.
Nadine Spence, Dr. Nadine Spence there, Kevin O'Brien Chang, and of course, Dr. Gavin Myers. We'll take a break right here on Nationwide at 5 and come back with more.
Every day, Rosie has a glass of fruit drink with breakfast, an energy drink on the way to work, a flavored water with lunch, and 2 glasses of soda with dinner, which adds up to more than 50 teaspoons of sugar a day. And all that extra sugar could bring on obesity. Are we drinking ourselves sick? 71% of Jamaicans support a tax on sugary drinks. Help tackle obesity and protect our children's future. A message from the Heart Foundation of Jamaica.
Welcome back. It's now time for us to take you quickly around the world. Now, oil prices started climbing again after U.S. President Donald Trump reiterated threats to hit Iran, quote, extremely hard in the coming weeks, and failed to give concrete details on how the war will end. He said that the U.S. would complete its strategic objectives for the war very shortly and spend the next 2 to 3 weeks bombing Iran back to the Stone Ages. Brent crude briefly surged past $109 a barrel, and the stock markets in the U.S., Europe, and Asia fell following Trump's address from the White House. Oil shipments through the critical Strait of Hormuz waterway have mostly been halted after Iran threatened to attack tankers that tried to cross in retaliation to U.S.-Israeli strikes, which began on February 28. More in this report from the BBC.
Oil prices jumped by nearly 7% on Thursday after US President Donald Trump reiterated threats to hit Iran, quote, extremely hard in the coming weeks. But he failed to give concrete details on how the war will end. Brent crude rose to over $107 a barrel. Stock markets are down. Meanwhile, a coalition of around 30 countries are meeting to discuss plans to reopen the vital Strait of Hormuz shipping lane in the Middle East. It is at a virtual summit hosted by the UK today. The summit is expected to consider what diplomatic or political steps could be taken to reopen that shipping route, though the US isn't due to attend. Well, for investors, the fear factor is back. There are mixed messages coming from Washington and Tehran, with President Trump's speech implying that there could be a further escalation.
We are systematically dismantling the regime's ability to threaten America or project power outside of their borders. That means eliminating Iran's navy, which is now absolutely destroyed, hurting their air force and their missile program at levels never seen before, and annihilating their defense industrial base. We've done all of it. Their navy is gone, their air force is gone. Their missiles are just about used up or beaten. Taken together, these actions will cripple Iran military, crush their ability to support terrorist proxies, and deny them the ability to build a nuclear bomb.
Well, Terry Haynes is founder of Pangea Policy. It's a Washington-based consultancy that advises Wall Street on US policy decisions. We'll hear from him in just a moment, but let's get the thoughts of Natalie Tochi, who's Professor of Practice at the Johns Hopkins School of Advanced International Studies in Europe. Natalie, good to have you here. And look, there's so much going on there, isn't there, that we hear from President Trump about hitting them extremely hard, and yet no details about how it ends. This just coming off the fact that he'd said the war was practically over, that Iran had lost and that America had been successful. You can see why markets are confused.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think, markets are confused because President Trump is confused, and President Trump is confused because the initial reasons why this war began were never really clarified, and probably were never really clarified in his own head. And so, if the goals are basically undefined, what you end up doing is focusing on simply the actions of the war. We hear a lot about how many targets are being hit non-stop. I mean, it actually reminds us a little bit of the kind of narrative that was there during the Vietnam War, where
that report there from the BBC, and that's where we have to leave it for today's edition of Nationwide at 5. I want to thank our super producer, Sonia Stewart. Thanks to our technical operator, the man behind the controls, Andrew Glenn Anderson. Don't just said, folks, that's his name, Andrew and Glenn together. Thanks to all the hardworking members of the news and production team, led by our editor, Cara Poyle. I'm Tyrone Reed saying do enjoy the holiday weekend.